Hello YouTube. So I'm playing my warrior, and I was thinking that I did like 2 different guides on like how to play warrior on a hardcore, and it's kind of obsolete because it was back on the Hydrexian Waterlords where we were playing solo without auction house and these things. But right now, after my fresh experience on the fresh hardcore server, I can share a little more about the topic. Yeah, so my first warrior is currently level 57. It's almost there. However, I'm not in a rush because I don't want to play on that warrior. I want to park it in the city and have it as a guild crafter. It should be an armor smith, maybe weaponsmith, and most likely an alchemist. I was even thinking of parking him at level 59 so that I can boost people in dungeons. That could be nice. Not really not really decided yet. Yeah, I just don't know. I leveled the warrior all the way as Fury. It worked really well for me. I can recommend it. Right now, the second time, I will be trying to go a little differently. I'll be talking about that right now. So the first one, I went into Cruelty. After Cruelty, I went into Demo Shout. Why Demo Shout and not Booming Voice or Unbridled Wrath? I don't think that if you just level up, not necessarily raid, you need Unbridled Wrath. This is good like when you're not taking damage and you starve for every single rage point and you kind of try to min-max the DPS. Then this is obviously the best talent choice you have. Not really a leveling strategy. Booming Voice is also very nice. It's mostly a PvP talent. It's really nice to be able to pull rogues out of stealth with Demo Shout that has like very large area. On the other hand, when I'm playing and I'm like in a cave in a narrow dungeon corridor or something, like this tends to have such a large range that you can overpull mobs and pull more than you want to, and I want to be like more specific with what I want to demo, and therefore I go with improved demo. This makes it really strong. Like demo by itself probably reduces the damage by like 20%. Improved demo, it's more like 25% of the incoming damage of every mob. In a dungeon, it's the most noticeable when you're pulling packs of mobs on you. Sometimes the DPS, like if you have aggro issues for whatever reason, sometimes the DPS over aggro, and just by clicking one demo, which is cheap, it's only 10 rage, you mitigate a lot of the damage that's coming in to the party. It's a good opener because it does have a little bit of aggro by itself. So yeah, improved demo in my opinion works best for the hardcore parties. Then I went into Blood Craze. I'm not sure I was ever in a situation where I would notice that this saved me or something. On the other hand, I might have never been in a situation where this saved me just because I did have it in the first place, right? You get crit a lot, like it's not really noticeable unless you like have weak auras, which I do have set up that show you the Blood Craze proc. Well, you see it, right? But I don't know. I just have it set up so that it's more profound, and I notice it a lot. The gear I go with is usually like strength and stamina. Those are the main stats I focus on, and like whenever you're at the point where you take like 60 damage crit, it usually heals 60 damage. If it's like later, higher mobs, higher level, and you take 100 damage crit, it's usually already at the point where you then regenerate 100 damage. And it pretty much makes you crit immune, if you think about it that way. And it's up all the time. Like, you get crit a lot. Like, if you take a look at this, I did one crit in this fight by itself. Like, that would be, say, 30 damage. So it works that way, that it makes you crit immune. Then I went to improved battle shout into execute. You really want to have improved execute if you go fury, and as soon as possible, because the difference in between executing at 15 rage points and 10 rage points is massive, and it just gets up after like one melee swing, instead of two full like swings or whatever. And it's a lot of damage. It's your best finishing talent. Sometimes you don't use it. You use like heroic strike instead, and it doesn't finish the mobs. It feels weird. Your charge is already off cooldown. You don't want to do that. Executing, like, you have so much rage that rage generation is literally not an issue. I definitely suggest, like, if you go Fury 3, I definitely suggest going improved execute over enrage. This is before level 30. Like, not absolutely necessary to get enrage as soon. Then you go enrage, death wish, back into enrage, you finish enrage, and then you put your points wherever you please. I had 3 out of 3 blood craze, so then I went into 4 out of 5 battle shout, flurry, and bloodthirst. You can probably shuffle the points in here. I think it was very nice to have blood craze 3 out of 3. Maybe you could go with cleave. I actually did cleave in dungeons. There was not many buttons to press, right? Sometimes you have just 2 mobs, and I did cleave. Maybe it could be worth dropping blood craze for cleave. Maybe I'm not really sure about that one, but you can do it. Kind of up to you, right? I did dual wield. I did dual wield all the way through to 40. Well, ever since level 20, I did dual wield. I had wing blade with like elegant sword or whatever. Then I did thorax assault for the saber with 2 strength, 2 agility. Then I did Black Phantom Depths for Outlaw Saber. I got Meteor Shard. From Shadowfang Keep. So I had that in my offhand. This is really nice. Then I was able actually to get Pronged Reaver on my first kill. So I had Pronged Reaver in my main hand and Meteor Shard in my offhand. And then I got Whirlwind Axe. And when I was testing the damage, like with this Fury build, I was able to do more damage on a single target with the dual wield weapons I had. Even better damage than the Whirlwind Axe at level like 36, I think. I tried that. So when I was approaching level 40, I already got Sword of Omen. So I started using Sword of Omen, and when I went into Razorfen Downs, on my first run in Razorfen Downs, I even got lucky, and I got Excalibur, which is slightly better than Whirlwind Axe even. And I was testing the damage with that against Sword of Omen and Vanquisher in my main hand. So Vanquisher main hand, Sword of Omen my offhand, and still I was doing more single target damage with dual wielding over the damage with the two-hand. I like two-hand Fury. I really like to play two-hand Fury. As for me, it is a like really fun spec. It's very fluid and works well, especially if you get enough crit and you get a lot of flurry procs. It feels really nice. And I like to play in a way where I kind of have an objective. Let's say that you go into a cave and you just tunnel mobs one after another instead of like chain pulling them for sweepings. You probably can do it that way. Most definitely, like if you have a healer, like a healer friend, it's really good and nice to be able to AoE mobs down, cleave them down with sweeping strikes. But for solo and actually for tanking dungeons, I think that Fury dual wielding works really well all the way through, and I like the gameplay style. I prefer it over arms. So after like all the way through, I was like pretty much heroic striking on cooldown and rending. After 40, when you get Bloodthirst, you don't have rage to rend anymore. You can even stop buying the skill. I didn't because profession-wise I went mining herbalism. I was selling everything, and I had so much money that I was able to buy blue level 40 plates from the auction house. Just straight away. I had really good gear all the way through, and no issues with money whatsoever. So I'm buying all skills, and don't care about that. That's just my my OCD, right? And so that's the point. Like level 40, where you just Bloodthirst and heroic strike, you stop rending. And then you continue in arms tree. In arms tree, I went into deflection, tactical mastery, and overpower. At the level, like whenever you get tactical mastery, or at least like 1 point, maybe better, like, well, have it full, obviously, right? But at least like 2 or 3 points, you can quite comfortably start stand dancing for overpower procs back into Whirlwind. But you usually just stand dance for overpower if you have like a low rage, let's say 5, 6, 7 points that you can waste. You dance for overpower. But when you get these talents, you do it to proc, even if it's a rage waste. You do it to proc flurry with the increased crit. Another thing, while Fury, is that when you're dual wielding, you can use Bloodthirst even when you're disarmed. And after level 40, there is a lot of mobs that disarm, like the swashbucklers in Tanaris, the swashbucklers south in Stranglethorn Vale, and many others. Like, it's actually a big issue for me not to be able to use my abilities and fight back, right? So I like to dual wield, because even when you're disarmed, you can still Bloodthirst, you can still Whirlwind, you can still overpower, you can use these abilities. You can't like rend or heroic strike, but it's not necessary. You still don't do rend after 40, but you can still use the other abilities, where if you're arms and you have a big two-hand, slow two-hand, and you charge in, you pop sweeping strikes, go into berserk stance, and you're about to press the Whirlwind and you get disarmed, like it doesn't feel well. Like, it's bad. I really hate that when that happens, and it happens a lot at those levels. If you are able to get weapon chain, yes, of course, you probably can do it, but that's that's how I prefer to play it. This time around, I'm planning to go into overpower and anger management straight away, and then go Fury. I will see how that works. I did play on Hydrexian Waterlords before. I did play like straight arms, and I have to admit that it feels well as well. It's really nice to have the two-handed weapon when you are fighting the bigger elite kills. Like when you go 2000 needles, you need to kill the Hypercapacitator, Gizmo that Panther. You have like Grenka and Rokalim and Steel Snap and like these mobs. It's really nice to be able to pop retaliation on them, or even like Ordanus or Blood Fury Reaper in Stone Talon. Yes, it's very useful to be able to have a two-hand and pop the retaliation on these attacking mobs. On the other hand, if you farm up some fury before the pull and you pop Dead Wish, it also dies really quickly as well. You pop Dead Wish into demo and mitigate a lot of the damage you wouldn't be taking if you didn't. But it works as well, and you can pop retaliation as well, right? It's just that with one-handers it's a little weaker, but I had no issues killing pretty much anything. I even have a video at like level 28, I think, when I killed Ordanus, and like how to jump down from the Ordanus tower so that you take virtually no damage, or maybe like 10 to 15% of your HP. And I was dual wielding on that kill as well. So you can take a look at that. So this time I'm shuffling things around a little bit. I will see how that works, just to have a comparison and a little bit fresh. So professions, yeah. Many people say, and their argument is like, what's the best professions? And you want to have engineering. Yeah, obviously, like you want to have engineering. Engineering is really nice. Or whether you go alchemy and have all the potions, or you do blacksmithing and maybe are able to craft some gear. Yes, all of it works. I went the way of mining and herbalism, and I have to say, like whatever bonuses I would have to have with the potions, or probably the extra damage I would have with the grenades. Well, I had them on gear because I was buying the nice items like River Pride Choker, the neck piece, like very soon. Then I was able to buy at level 40. I was buying the Plated Fist of Haku and Obsidian Greaves and like some other green level 40 plate gear. So I was like really beefy straight away. And yes, it worked well. I really liked the way that went, and I was strong, and I had so much money that I was still able to buy the potions. And yeah, I never was in a really in a situation where I would be like running low on HP and be like, oh my god, if I only had the grenade or target dummy right now. No, never. I was always like really geared, really strong, and never had issues with that. I delayed my mount a bit because I was buying the plate gear. On the other hand, like in the zones where you level up at 40 as a fresh 40, it's probably you go to Feralas, you do the ogres, you do like some mobs here, you do these mobs here. You don't go too far, like it's a really small area. There's not a lot of running in there. Other options you have is like the raptors around Gromgol. There is a little bit of running in here, but it's still not that big of a zone that it would feel that noticeable. The only running I did without a mount was back and forth with the group when I was doing the Stormguard Elite quests. You can kind of skip them, and we had people in group at level 38, 39 even. They didn't have mounts either. We had a hunter carrying us with an aura, so not an issue either. and on top of that, like when I'm mining and herbalism, like I would have to dismount all the time anyways because it's so close from herb to deposit that it just doesn't make sense to mount up and go. Like you really feel it when you, let's say, you need to run to Badlands, for example, or you start questing in Tanaris. That's where you really want to have the mount, obviously. And I had it at that point because I was just selling everything on the auction house, and it worked really well for me. Just mine herb and sell everything. I had so much money that it was very comfortable to play that way, and I did have the potions, I did have the bags, I had everything I needed, and it worked well for me. So maybe like at this point where there's more money in the economy, this would be even better, and you would be able to afford the mount at level 40 straight away. Or if you didn't buy the plates, you would 100% definitely be able to afford the mount straight away at level 40. So and you do have the option to buy the potions on the auction house. There's no issues with that. Works really well for me, and worked really well for me. This time I decided that I will do the same thing again. Uh, in a way, I was thinking of re-rolling the main character into blacksmithing and alchemy like straight away because I'm going to have support of this character feeding everything to that character. On the other hand, he can mine and farm Ashara like really conveniently, and that can funnel me with a lot of money, and I can do it. I can do all of that later. I don't really have to care for it right now. So yeah, I'll be dropping those professions on that character, and I will be most likely playing and raiding on this one. I consider it a marathon rather than like having to level up really quickly. I'm positioning myself into playing this game long term, not just because of the hype. So yeah, that's where I'm going from with this. Dungeons. As I said, I was playing Fury. I miss Tactical Mastery. Obviously, I do miss Tactical Mastery where I'm not playing with it. I can't stance dance. On the other hand, I never really had issues with. I never really had issues with tanking dungeons. You just switch to defensive stance, and instead of charging in, you just slowly running into like demo shout or something. Thunderclap you don't use because you're in defensive stance, but you just run in and start heroic striking and sundering the mobs. You do have a nice weapon progression because you get Wingblade, you get Outlaw Saber, Sword of Omen, Vanquisher, then you get Trash Blade. I was able to get Hammer of the Northern Wind. It's kind of fast. It's 2.1 speed, but it's 40 DPS, and it's a very nice main hand for tanking dungeons because you kind of want to have faster weapons. So it was cheap and works really well. I hold aggro really well. With the plate I have, I never had issues with survivability. Never equipped a shield, not even once. I do have a shield, obviously, but I just don't use it because I never need to. I was able to get some nice gear, and right now I'm in a position where I can easily go and tank BRD. I can easily go and tank other like high-level dungeons. But as I said, I mean this character more as a crafter. I would rather park him. What I wanted to point out is that you can quite conveniently tank dungeons all the way through. With dual wield, you don't have to use a shield. You don't have to do anything like that, and it's very fluent. I'm getting a lot of whispers because people are actually happy with the way I did perform in the dungeons. Uh, so yes, I would recommend it. It's also nice to save a little bit of money because you don't ever have to respec out of the build you have. So that's a bonus point as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I did. That's how I took it. How I leveled up this character all the way to 57 so far. I'll be continuing with some quests. Already started some grind because I want a bit of money, and there's not many people at such a high level. So areas like Shara are not overcrowded. They are not over farmed, and I want to utilize that as soon as possible, because later on this will be so overfarmed that I will struggle making the money in here. So I would rather do it right now rather than later. Hope you find this video inspiring. I hope you like it, and if you have any questions regarding the build, the weapon progression, gear progression, or any other recommendations, or maybe even a request on a topic I could talk about, feel free to hit me up, and start buying my weapon chains, suckers. Peace.